In 1661, Pierre Boucher de Boucherville became the first Canadian settler to be ennobled by a French monarch. 2 generations later, his grandson, Jacques Timothy Boucher, Sieur de Montbrun, later shortened to Timothy Demonbreun, was living inside of this cave on the banks of the Cumberland River right outside of the heart of Nashville. Timothy, often given credit as the first white settler in the area, most likely learned about the cave from those who came before him, perhaps from the sons or grandsons of Martin Cartier. As far back as 1689, Martin and his Shawnee wife, Sawatha Straightail, opened a trading post on top of an Indian mound just north of the French Lick and only 4.5 miles downriver from the Demonbreun Cave. The rivers were used as a means of travel back then, and I feel pretty certain anybody who is familiar with the area, and certainly anybody traveling the river, would have seen the cave, as it generally sits about 20 feet above the average waterline. The Chartier family, later going by de Charleville, ran a trading post or warehouse from the location up until 1756, when the Chickasaw drove the Shawnee out of the settlement. Timothy Demonbreun first came to the area 14 years later in 1769 to pursue the fur trade, except for the 3 years when he served as lieutenant commandant of the Illinois country, which was the equivalent of governor. Timothy spent every fall and winter of the next 20 years trading at the Lick before making his way down to New Orleans to sell and then returning to Kaskaskia, Illinois, where he spent the spring and summer with his family. In 1774, Timothy rebuilt a cabin on the mound where the de Charleville warehouse once stood. I'll have to hold off on the story of the cabin today, because today is all about the cave. Supposedly, Timothy spent at least some time living in the cave, used it for storage, and used it to hide from hostile Native Americans on at least one occasion. It's said that he laid low in the cave for a full week. Therese, his wife, visited the Cumberland at least once and was reported to have given birth in this cave. The only map I can find of the cave listed as Buchanan's Cave, most likely named after Buchanan Station, and shows its most unique feature. The cave is a tunnel that works its way from the river back 125 feet inland. Samuel Buchanan also attempted to use the cave as a hiding place from hostile Native Americans. As he fled, he leapt off the bluff above the cave, landed poorly, and died from his injuries. The cave served as a tourist attraction in the 1930s until the 2 entrances were railed by the Colonial Dames of America to prohibit trespassing, protect enclosed artifacts, and prevent the entry of refuse during high water. In 1980, the cave was placed on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. As of today, the cave is closed to the public. But we're gonna go inside. Now that's life on the Cumberland.